So let me start with a little joke to wake you up. There was a man who had 2,000 Facebook friends, and then one day he passed away, and his friends sort of decided that, well, we must have a really good funeral for him, so many friends. So about 2,000 chairs were arranged in the church, and his coffin was lying there, and just 2 or 3 people turned up, and his friend said, but he had 2,000 Facebook friends, and only 2 or 3 turn up. So it is not just the fake news which Facebook gives us, it also gives us fake friends. Well, many discussions happen in the morning on varied subjects, on fake news and peace, and children. I would like to begin with how Gandhi is relevant as far as all the topics which were discussed since morning. If Gandhi had done nothing else in his life, just done journalism, even then he would have a lasting presence in the field of journalism. Gandhi started 8 newspapers in English, in Hindi, and in Gujarati. The first one was in South Africa, I think it was Indian Opinion. That was started way back in 1910 or something. And he ran them without taking a single advertisement from anybody, and on principles. So 8 newspapers he edited, and very, very successfully, and the revenue came only from the sales of the newspaper. So Gandhi, in the field of journalism, is also somebody who has no parallel. Gandhi, there are many areas in which Gandhi has no parallel. I will talk about it. And I basically feel that Gandhi is as relevant today as Gandhi was during the epic battle for freedom. My connection with Gandhi dates back to when I was a little boy. I was just 6 years old, and my father was a painter. He wanted to be a painter. He studied art in Mumbai, but he could not make a living out of art. So he came back to Goa, we are from Goa, and he became a school teacher. So all his life he was a school teacher, but he painted in his spare time. And he was always looking for some work as a painter. So he got a job to paint 12 portraits for the Goa Assembly. This was when I was 6 years old, and we used to stay in a chawl in Margam. It was a chawl, but it was not a chawl which you think of when you think of chawls in Calcutta or chawls in Bombay. It was a wonderful chawl. It was kind of an island in the middle of the fields with lots of palm trees and row houses and lots of kids to play with. So all the memories which I have of this chawl is just fun and pleasant memories. So they are not memories of... So my father painted a portrait of Gandhi. And then the time came to take it away to the Goa Assembly. A small truck arrived. My father placed the portrait in the veranda, which is a common veranda in the chawl, and he invited all of us to come and pray to Gandhi. So about 25 kids, I was about 6 years old, we stood in front of the portrait of Gandhi and we prayed. We closed our eyes and we prayed. Now I am thinking, if I am commissioned to do a portrait of any political leader today, will I call my children and the children from the neighborhood to come and pray to that portrait? This is my first introduction to Gandhi. I kept connecting with Gandhi. I had some very good friends. One of them was a very close friend called Satish Sonak, who passed away just a year ago. And we read Gandhi together. And 4 years ago, when Modi came to power and things started happening the way they're happening today, I was restless. I was angry. And then I decided, instead of just shouting against the politics of hate which is going on today, I thought, let me study Gandhi. And I started studying Gandhi very seriously for the last 4 years. And I must tell you that it brought about some changes in me. I stopped hating even Mr. Modi. I would hate the policies, but I will not hate a person. Gandhi's is a politics of love. You might blame Gandhi for many things, you may disagree with him on many fronts, but on one front you can never ever challenge Gandhi is his compassion, his love. It was a politics of love. So with this little introduction, I will talk about Gandhi, and any questions are welcome. You can even interrupt me in between, and I'm most happy to answer the questions. Now, my Gandhi project brought me close to many people. One of them was Gandhi's grandson, Rajmohan Gandhi. He liked my project very much, and he connected me to a lot of people. One of them was Dr. Annamalai, the director of Gandhi Museum in Delhi. So I went to meet Dr. Annamalai. I'm originally a medical doctor. I gave up medicine about 27 years ago to pursue arts. And when I went to the cabin of Dr. Annamalai in the Gandhi Museum, even before he asked me to sit down, he just opens a cupboard and gives me a file. He says, "You're a doctor, please take this." I opened the file. That is the original medical file of Mahatma Gandhi. It has blood test of Mahatma Gandhi, urine test of Mahatma Gandhi, and 3 electric cardiograms. Now I have a unique privilege of being an artist and a scientist, being a doctor. So I decide, this is Gandhi's cardiogram taken in this very city. You can see the address, Elgin Road in 1937. Yeah. So this cardiogram was taken in Calcutta. So what do? I decide to convert this cardiogram into Gandhi's heart sounds. Because as you know, any graph can be converted to sound. And so here, what you're about to hear are Gandhi's heart sounds. Another thing I do is I do a 3D mapping of Gandhi's sculpture. I animate it. And you just watch very quietly with attention to the Gandhi's picture, and you will see Gandhi giving us a very faint smile of compassion. You see him smile? Yeah. So only those who have pure hearts can say it. Well, see, basically the idea, I am going to use the word ahimsa for peace. I am not going to use the word peace because, as Sakira pointed out, violence is visible and non-violence or peace is not visible. But there are many occasions where you also can see ahimsa. My friend Sujay mentioned video volunteers. I went to a conference of video volunteers, and their motto is to shoot injustice at sight, or violence at sight. So all of them wear a little t-shirt which says shoot injustice at sight. So I made a little addition to it. I said we will also have some more t-shirts made where shoot kindness at sight, shoot ahimsa at sight. I have been studying ahimsa for the last 10 days, very focused. That's because one of my good friends, Bharat Bala, who made these songs, Vande Mataram and Ma Tuze Salam, which were sung by A.R. Rahman. Now, he decided that there are many Indian words which have become international. We have nirvana, we have yoga. He would like to make ahimsa an international word. Because today we are going through a period where we have a virus called violence, which affects every field of our existence. It affects our education system, journalism, politics, religion. Everything is affected by this virus called violence, and only answer to this is ahimsa. And as my friend Bharat Bala puts it, A in the future should not be for apple, but A should be for ahimsa. Violence is based on a supposition that if I harm you, I am not harmed. if we hit somebody else, we hurt somebody else, we are not hurt. That is a kind of an idea on which violence is based. We commit violence against somebody believing that this is not going to affect us. We are only harming somebody else. But Gandhi's ahimsa is based on the fact that there is a universal consciousness. That my consciousness is connected with everybody's conscious, and if I hurt somebody, I will also be hurt. Now this, so far, was a kind of a philosophical idea of a connected consciousness. कि मैं हमारा आत्मा सबके आत्मा से जुड़ा हुआ है, ये जो आइडिया है वो फिलोसॉफिकल आइडिया थी, साइंटिफिक आइडिया नहीं थी. लेकिन now there is a research happening, and this is a gentleman called Dr. Ramachandran. He is a neurophysicist. They have done some very simple experiments. For example, if Sujay touches my left hand, I feel the touch. Because the sensory neurons in my brain fire. So if it touches my left hand, for example, the sensory neurons in my brain fire, and my skin receptors tell me I have been touched. That's why I feel the touch. But suppose Sujay touches the left hand of Madhu. Even then, the sensory receptors in my brain fire. And these receptors which fire are called mirror neurons. So scientists have put electrodes, and they have sort of put electrodes in my brain, for example, and when I see him touching her, even the sensory receptors in my brain fire. They are called mirror neurons. But I do not feel the touch. That's because my skin tells me I have not been touched. But suppose I anesthetize my skin by giving anesthetic to my brachial plexus, and then I see him touching her, I will feel the touch. So this has been proven now by neurophysicists, and now the idea was so far considered a very philosophical idea that our consciousness is connected has been proven as a scientific idea. So that my consciousness is connected with everybody's consciousness is a scientific idea through this experiment, and Ramachandran calls them, these mirror neurons, renamed Gandhi neurons, the neurons of empathy. So the idea of ahimsa is now a very, very scientific idea. There is a very scientific basis for practicing ahimsa. And ahimsa, mind you, is not just about not hurting somebody. There are many aspects of ahimsa we'll discuss later. But right now, I'm going to take you on a journey of Gandhi. This is Nandalal Bose created this Gandhi. When Gandhi did his Dandi March, Nandalal Bose was from Shantiniketan, a good friend of Gandhi. We have animated it. We are doing a work where you will enter a room and there's a projection on the wall. And then you go and stand in front of that projection. On the wall you will see a shadow of Gandhi. But then you raise your hand, Gandhi also raises his hand. You start walking, Gandhi starts walking. So this work is called Walking with Gandhi. I use a lot of technology for creating work. So this is Walking with Gandhi. I'm just going to give you an example how this works.
The third panel, where you sprout the giant wings, represents...
So you just raise this, you get the wings. The same principle will be used for Gandhi.
That death in the panel before. The idea...
I'm going to skip this. Some 20 years ago, my uncle, Ravindra Kelekar, when I was in Germany, I was working in Germany illustrating books, and my uncle told me to get a sculpture of Goethe for him. I went to the Goethe house in Frankfurt to get a sculpture of Goethe, a very important German philosopher who also studied Sanskrit. So I bought a sculpture of Goethe for about 100 marks that time. It was a lovely sculpture of Goethe, wonderfully done. And I was very sad that I can't buy a sculpture of Gandhi anywhere in India, which is of that quality. Because I always wanted a Gandhi on my table. And I couldn't buy one. So I was rather sad. So what did I do? I traveled around the country. I traveled around the country. I documented 70 sculptures of Gandhi in 3 dimensions. There is a method of doing it. It's called a 3D scan. It's called a 3D scan. So you scan a sculpture of Gandhi, you have to take about 2,000 pictures, 1,000 to 2,000 pictures of every sculpture of Gandhi, fit them to a computer program which converts them into a three-dimensional sculpture, and then these sculptures can be printed. So these are the sculptures of Gandhi which I have printed, and I have 70 different Gandhis, and I can print them in any size. So this is a document, this is a work which we have already done, and I travel to most places in India, and there are many more sculptures too, which we will do. So this is actually printed in plastic, and then coated with copper. Yeah. And then what did I do? I decided that I would like to take Gandhi all over the world using digital technology. And how do I do that? I developed an app. This app is called Gandhi AR. Now you download this app and you point this app to any major currency of the world. You will see a sculpture of Gandhi. And we are going one step ahead. If you are in, for example, Frankfurt in Germany, and you point your app to a currency of euro, then you will see a quotation of Gandhi in German. If you are in Italy, same euro, but you will see it in Italian. In France, you will see it in French. I will give you a little demonstration. The app is already ready, but we have not yet really launched it because I am waiting for somebody important to launch it. Because I launch it, it will not be seen by everybody. So I would like perhaps a great celebrity to launch it, and I don't know yet who that celebrity is going to be. I have many options right now. So these are different sculptures, and this is Kingsley Hall in London. This is where Gandhi stayed when he was in London for the second round table conference in 1931. So with my app, I took Gandhi back there. This is how it looks today, and this is Gandhi in front of it, with my virtual reality app. This is a sculpture which you just saw. I took it to Kingsley Hall in London. Now, this is a code. I told you that you can point your phone to any currency in the world. But I also made some more codes. I'm going to make podiums which will be having some kind of a design like this, which is a code for Gandhi. And with the app, you just point at it, you will see Gandhi like this. No. Yeah. See this? Yeah. So this is a code, and there are different Gandhis. Yeah. So right now, it's a bit difficult to show you because there are different Gandhis you can see. And you can take a picture with Gandhi. Yes. You can take a picture with Gandhi. So Gandhi is moving around the room. Yeah, everybody saw? Yeah. So this is a virtual Gandhi project. So actually I am going a few steps ahead. With this app, you just point, for example, your phone to India Gate or to the gateway of India. You will see a huge sculpture of Gandhi, a virtual sculpture of Gandhi. So the whole idea behind doing all this is basically, and why did I choose the currency? That's because you don't have to print it. The currency is already printed. Millions and millions of currency notes are available. And I have also done it with the demonetized notes, by the way, because I started at that time. So even the old notes can see, bring Gandhi out. Yeah. So this is the virtual Gandhi project. Then I have created a virtual Gandhi island. So there is something called a VR box, which you just wear, and then you can actually walk from one sculpture of Gandhi to the other sculpture of Gandhi, and also the story of Gandhi. So I'm just giving you a very short Actually, I have made a bigger sculpture of Gandhi than Patel's. So we're spending much less. So look at that, and you can just walk into the ocean. This is just in the building state, that's why it's jerky. I mean, it's you'll be able to sort of a very smooth walk in the Gandhi Island. So you climb up and you start walking, and then you come up and then you have a look, you put your head up and you can see Gandhi. Yeah. Yeah. So this is just in the making. So I've been. Then I have another project where there will be a charkha, and there's a plain charkha and a sit, and you just go and sit next to the charkha, and when you click a picture, you'll have Gandhi spinning with you. So you can take a photograph back home with Gandhi. I have cast chappals of Gandhi in all sizes in bronze, and there will be one room full of these chappals in all sizes, and you can put your foot in Gandhi's shoes. I must tell you, I have tried that and there is a different feeling, especially when you have read Gandhi. So, putting your foot in Gandhi's shoes is another work of art. So, if this gives you an idea, many times people feel that art is about basically painting, sculpture, or a video. Mostly people feel art is a landscape, or a portrait, or a flower pot, or maybe a portrait of a woman, especially with wet sari. This is a general idea in everybody's mind what art is about. But this can also be art, and this is not can, this is also art. So art has many, many different aspects, which unfortunately in this country, most people do not know, because contemporary art is only for those who are rich. Common people have no access to contemporary art. And that's also very un-Gandhian. So one of our activities is to create a museum, which we have created, where common people come to the museum, from 50 to 300 people every day. And 99% of the people who visit my contemporary museum is for the first time they ever visit any contemporary museum. So that's also very, very important. I have been scanning the whole world for Gandhi-connected material. And I tell you, there are at least 150 songs in Hollywood and Bollywood where Gandhi is featured. In Hollywood itself, there are 100 songs. There are at least there is a rapper who tells you Gandhi Charitra with rap music. Can you imagine that? So, we people... Huh? Yes, of course I'm going to show you. Well, Gandhi doesn't believe in just talking. You have to show. Look at this.
And this is what I'm going to add. You're the top. You're Mahatma Gandhi. You're the top. You're Napoleon Brandy.
So that, no, not just this is a lover who is telling his beloved, you are like my Mahatma Gandhi. And I don't think any other leader in the world will get that privilege, that you are like my Mahatma Gandhi. So, Gandhi does not belong to India. Gandhi belongs to the world. And if you see statements made by many people, there is one favorite book of mine on Gandhi, where Ram Manohar Lohia, the great socialist leader, he says 20th century had only two powers, atomic power and Gandhi power. And 21st century will belong to Gandhi. And we have to make it happen that way. Because that's the only way, because the world has seen enough violence and it is time for ahimsa. Look at this now, Popeye, the sailor man. Look at this.
Did I believe in one word? How can I possibly do otherwise? Of course, I believe in one word.
Italian telecommunication uses Mahatma Gandhi for their ad. to propagate communication. There has been no other leader in the world who knew communication as well as Gandhi. It was an era without internet, without television, and Gandhi could communicate with everybody. Whenever Gandhi went, and he was not a great speaker. He couldn't even give a proper speech, but his greatest strength was his sincerity and his absolute conviction. And that's what made him a great communicator. So if there is sincerity, communication happens. You don't need to be a great orator. And Gandhi proved that. Gandhi converted Congress from a party of 80 lawyers to a party of millions of delegates. That was what he did. So Gandhi, there is no other parallel as far as in the world to Gandhi. There are many posters which I have connected with Gandhi. They are right from 1920s onwards. I will just quickly sort of show you some of, because we need some time to talk about Gandhi and Ahimsa. This is Gandhi as Rama, British as Ravana, and Jawaharlal Nehru is like the Hanuman there. So all kind of with mythological figures and everything has come into the Gandhi Charitra. The arrest of Gandhi. This is contemporary. This is now last year, artist called Chaudhary, a young artist in Delhi called Chaudhary, makes Gandhi as all the superheroes. Gandhi as superheroes. This is when Gandhi died. Tukaram is Maharashtra's very favorite poet, and he went Sadeha Vaikunthvas. So a plane was sent for him by the gods, and he went. So Gandhi is also going. You know, this is Ganesh Chaturthi is around the corner, and one of the most important Ganesh celebrations in the country is Lal Bagh Raja in Mumbai. And this is a huge celebration. And in 1948, when Gandhi was killed, this was the Ganesh idol they worshipped. Gandhi was made into Ganesh. I don't think there will be any other leader who will be ever made into Ganesh, but Gandhi was made into Ganesh. And this was not the first time that Gandhi was compared with Ganesh or connected with Ganesh. There's many, many occasions. This is Gandhi's death, and then everybody is there in the heaven waiting for him. Kasturba, Tilak, and everybody else. This is Pieta by Michelangelo, and it's shown in Bharat Mata like Mother Mary in Christ. This is like Vishnu and you see. Look at this. This is the King George of England. He is bending, and Gandhi is shown as an emperor. So these are subtle things which the artists use to basically express their admiration for Gandhi. I have sort of worked with hundreds of artists from all over the country. I'm encouraging them to come to Goa. I organize Gandhi talks for them and then encourage them to do works connected with Gandhi. So I will go through a few of these works. This is an artist called Pulkit Prajapati from Ahmedabad. This is Chandra Bhattacharya from Calcutta. This is from Andhra Pradesh. This is an artist called Sweetie Joshi. She has burned books. This is different ways of preserving Bapu. This is a work by Ravi Kashi from Bangalore. This is a work with thorns. Gandhi created with thorns. This is called Eye for an Eye. Again, an artist from Bangalore. This is he has just taken one statue of Gandhi and placed it in different ways. Look at that. Gandhi is an angel. This is quite effective. Violence and ahimsa juxtaposed. The lonely Gandhi. Gandhi with broken mirrors. There are many artists all around the world who have created Gandhi, not just Indian artists, Chinese, Polish, Russian, and have collected pictures of this, because we are not exactly into selling these pictures. We want to display it and take Gandhi across. So I have just got very good quality prints. This is Unni, the Indian Express cartoonist who has done Gandhi on a bicycle. This is R.K. Lakshman. This is MG roads all over India. What are they selling? Pepsi, Cola, everything Videshi. So this Swadeshi Gandhi is basically the Gandhi roads selling everything, all the international brands. This is Shakti Burman, is based in Paris. This is Adi Mulam from Chennai. This is Adi Mulam. This is Hakku Shah, based in Ahmedabad. M.F. Hussain. This is an artist called Haldankar. These are artists from Jaipur who paint on the royal papers. This is Atul Dodia. This is Miki Patel. Chinese artist. And look at this. This is the sculpture in Delhi of Dandi March. And one artist has made a parody of it. And this is the parody. Gandhi is walking in one direction and everybody else in the opposite direction. This is a Polish artist who painted a lot of paintings of Gandhi, and they're all in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Now, I've been working closely with Bharat Bala, who has also made a film about one of my works. And Bharat Bala, for the last 10 years, is very much connected with Gandhi. So he has gone all around the world and taken interviews of Nelson Mandela on Gandhi, Desmond Tutu, Yasser Arafat, Simon Peres, Mikhail Gorbachev. So we will have this as part of my Gandhi exhibition. All these people speaking in Gandhi. And I tell you, many of them have spoken so beautifully. Simon Peres, for example, says that Gandhi does not belong to the past, Gandhi belongs to the future. And that's a very profound statement. Interesting anecdotes in Gandhi's life. This is Gauhar Jan. She was a Kothewali in Calcutta. Now, she was a great singer. And she wanted to support Gandhi by giving him some donation. So she organized a concert in a kotha to support Gandhi's movement and wrote to Gandhi. And she collected at that time something like 30,000-40,000 rupees. And Gandhi did not go. But Gandhi sent his representative. So she gave half the money, saying that if you had come, I would have given the full. So she had her own pride. She said, he didn't come, so I will give him only half. This is Gandhi and sugar. Anybody knows the story? Okay, I will tell you a few stories because there's a young crowd here. Well, there are so many stories from Gandhi's life, and many of them are very speaking. I mean, actually, they speak of ahimsa. I will talk about ahimsa a bit later. But one day, an old lady comes to Gandhi with the little grandson and says, Bapuji, usko thoda bata dena, shakkar bahut khata hai. So Gandhi said, okay, ठीक है, बता देंगे, 1 महीने के बाद आ जाना. So 1 महीने के बाद आते हैं. And he says, बेटा, देखो, हमारे दांत खराब हो गए हैं, शक्कर मत खाना. So the old lady is confused. इतना बताने के लिए 1 महीने के बाद क्यों बुलाया? You could have told that day only when we came. He says, no, that time I was also eating sugar. I stopped sugar for 1 month. Now I have the right to tell him. If this simple kind of a thing can be incorporated in all of us, I think, you never talk about something, never advise something which you don't do. That is what Gandhi did. So Gandhi was, in that sense, a perfectionist of this. He never advised spelling. Gandhi was about 8 years old in a school, and that was an English medium school, and a British inspector, he came to the school for inspection, and Gandhi wrote the word kettle wrongly. He was the only one who wrote the spelling wrong. So the headmaster, the teacher, is sort of trying to signal him by touching his feet. Come on, correct it. Gandhi he sort of doesn't listen. He sort of pretends as if he has not heard. And when the inspector goes off and the teacher sort of reprimands him, you are the only one who wrote it wrong. Why did you not correct it? I told you. He says, no, I shall not copy. But then Gandhi adds something else in his own autobiography. He says, even in spite of this, my respect for that teacher did not become less. So I kept respecting the teacher because he was my teacher, and that takes me back to a wonderful shloka from Vedas. In Vedas and Upanishads are full of such lovely shlokas. There, like Shankara, the Lord Shiva, has a blue throat. So why does he have the blue throat? That's because he drinks the poison. The poison is basically, can be representative of something, thinking bad about other people. He does not swallow it. Neither does it spit it out. He just skips it hanging there. So that should be the attitude. If you find something bad in some people, just skip it like Shankara's poison there. You don't have to sort of insult them, neither do you have to swallow it. You just skip it there. So this kind of shlokas, Gandhi studied all this, and Gandhi talks about all this. This is, Gandhi ate meat with Sheikh Mehtab. Sheikh Mehta was his childhood friend. He was 1 year senior to him in the school. And he taught him how to smoke, and they started eating meat. And why did they eat meat? Because Sheikh Mehtab convinced Gandhi that the British are ruling us because they're eating meat, they are strong, and if you want to chase them away, we must eat meat. So Gandhi is convinced that we must eat meat. He starts eating meat, And there's a poem written by a contemporary poet that time, a Gujarati poet called Narmal. It says, "Behold the mighty Englishman, he rules the Indians small, because being a meat eater, he is 7.5 feet tall." So Gandhi actually starts eating meat. He even goes to a prostitute with this guy. Of course, he just runs away. He does not sleep with the woman. He runs away. But then he goes to England and stops eating meat because he has told his mother that he has vowed to his mother that I will not eat meat. Otherwise, he's convinced that he should be eating meat. But it's only when he goes to England that time he becomes a vegetarian after studying about vegetarianism. That story I will come back. But now this is a train which Gandhi travels on 1st, 2nd and 3rd of February 1946. He travels from Chennai to Madurai, Ballari to basically visit the temples and sort of open them up for the untouchables. And this is a train which is in the British time. So a train is assigned to Gandhi by the British government. And Gandhi goes with this train, and the record is 80% of the people from any place he stops come to listen to his speech. This is without any organized buses. Today all political meetings are with organized buses. Nobody has organized any buses. 80% of the crowd of any town always comes to listen to Gandhi. That is the kind of a record which no perhaps politician has ever broken. This is the Gandhi boat. I must tell you this story. During Dandi March, he comes to a village where he has to cross a river. But there's a problem. The river is very narrow and there's low tide and it's muddy. So you cannot walk through it because it is muddy. And you cannot take a boat because there is no water. It is low tide. So the villagers tell him that at 12 o'clock at night there will be high tide. You come that time and then we can cross. So Gandhi says, okay, I will go to sleep, wake me up at 12 o'clock. So Gandhi goes to sleep. And then at 12 o'clock the villagers sort of have a meeting and say, such a great man has come. How can we allow him to cross the river in darkness? We must create some light. So somebody walks through the mud, goes on the other side, and when Gandhi comes there at 12 o'clock, there are hundreds of diyas on either side of the river, reflecting in the river. It's like a biblical scene, and the Mahatma is crossing the river. So this is where sometimes art can intervene to create kind of epics. I must tell you this story of Roma Roland. Anybody has heard of Meera Bain? Meera Bain was associate of Gandhi. Her original name was Madeline Slade. Now her father was a British admiral. He was a British admiral, and Meera Bain spent, Madeline Slade spent her childhood in Bombay, and she learned horse riding on Chowpatty. Then the father was transferred to London, and she sort of fell in love with the music of Beethoven, the German composer. This was in 1914-15, and England was at war in the First World War with the Germans. And she started organizing concerts of Beethoven's music in London, which was politically very wrong, especially considering that her father was an admiral. So, but she did not give up. She said, no, I'm going to do it because art has no boundaries. Art has no enemies. It's again a very profound statement. Art does not need any visa. And so she organized the concerts, and then in the meanwhile, Roma Roland, who is a French philosopher, had written a book, a biography of Beethoven. So she went to see Roma Roland in Paris because he had written a biography of Beethoven. And Roma Roland had also written the first biography of Gandhi in 1924. So he gives her the biography of Gandhi. She reads it and she writes to Gandhi, I would like to come and spend the rest of my life in your service. Now imagine this. Her father is the Admiral of the British Navy. His job it is to protect the British Empire, and his daughter wants to spend the rest of her life in service of a man he wants to get rid of the British Empire. Gandhi writes back, he says, it's a very good thing that you want to come and spend your life in my service, but if you come to my ashram, you have to eat vegetarian, you cannot have alcohol, and you have to sleep on a hard bed. So you first practice it for 1 year, and then if you still feel you want to come, then you come. So she practices it for 1 year, becomes vegetarian, sleeps on a hard bed, and stops taking wine. And she writes back to Gandhi that I have done this for 1 year. Then she comes to Sabarmati. She falls on Gandhi's feet, and Gandhi says, now you are Meera Bain, my daughter. and Miraben accompanies him everywhere. So that's Miraben. And she goes to London with him for the roundtable conference. And on the way back, they come to meet Roma Roland. So this is this meeting with Roma Roland. Miraben, this is the Miraben in white sari, Gandhi. That's Roma Roland, and that's Roma Roland's sister. And then Gandhi requests Roma Roland to play the 4th Symphony of Beethoven, because it was Beethoven who had connected them. So there are so many stories like this. I can go on and on, but I think I will now very quickly finish the presentation so we can have some discussions. I was talking about Gandhi as a communicator. Now, this is on the 4th of January 1932, Gandhi is arrested in Mani Bhavan in Bombay. The police commissioner comes at 2 o'clock at night, because it is impossible to arrest Gandhi during daytime. So at 2 o'clock at night, the police commissioner goes, he shows the arrest warrant to Gandhi. Gandhi, it's a Monday, and it's Gandhi's day of silence. This is another very interesting thing. This man is leading an epic battle against the British, and he's at the helm of it, yet every week, one day, he does not speak. He does introspection. So unless you do introspection, Gandhi has never uttered a word according to him which he had to withdraw. See, he always weighed everything what he said. So Gandhi writes on a piece of paper, give me half an hour, let me finish my prayers, and then I will come with you. Now there is commotion in the house, the women are crying. Now an Italian newspaper, within 7 days, publishes this news on the front page in Rome with an elaborate illustration by an Italian artist. Now what a communicator. Even today, if I ask Sujay what is happening in Rome, I don't think we have any idea what's happening in Rome. But Rome is watching Gandhi, the whole world is watching Gandhi. So those kind of communication skills are unheard of. So within 1 week, there's a front page news. And the story does not end here. I narrate this story, this anecdote, in a meeting in Goa, where I'm addressing a group of people. And there's an old lady, an English lady in the audience. She comes to me after the presentation and says, Subodh, the police commissioner who arrested him that night is my great-grandfather. And his name is Jack Waters. And this lady was Lily Waters. Her great-grandfather is Jack Waters, and she has his diary. And she shows me the diary, and this is what is written in it. A sad day it fell to me to arrest the Mahatma. So the police commissioner feels that this is a very sad day in his life. This is Winston Churchill. He never met Gandhi. That's Winston Churchill's cousin sister. Her name is Claire Sheridan. Now, this Claire Sheridan did many sculptures of many people. Her mother and Winston Churchill's mother were sisters. And so she did many sculptures. This is a sculpture of Gandhi she did. And this is the one which I have printed here. And she stayed at Kingsley Hall with Gandhi and his party. And Gandhi sat for her. Gandhi tried to meet Winston Churchill. He refused. But then Winston Churchill's son, Randolph, met Gandhi in Calcutta when Gandhi was here for 25 days in the Hyderabad Manzil, which is not too far from here. And I decided that it's not fair that Winston Churchill did not meet Gandhi, so I took my app to London and had a picture of Winston Churchill and Gandhi together. One of the reasons, there is one millionaire in Mexico. His name is Mauricio Achar. In 1971, he comes to the conclusion that one of the reasons there are problems in the world is because people do not read. Basically because of illiteracy, not illiteracy, but because people are not knowledgeable enough. When knowledge makes you love, not hate. When you basically acquire knowledge, hatred dissolves. And so he decides he must start a lot of bookshops. He starts the bookshops in Mexico. There are 36 of them today. And what does he call them? Liberia Gandhi. There are Liberia Gandhis in Mexico. 36 of them. And look at the buildings. State-of-art buildings. Gandhi wrote 50,000 pages in total. More letters than anybody else. So I just placed it next to the post office. These are the 8 newspapers Gandhi published. He wrote with his right hand and left hand. He knew 12 languages. On the last day of his life, he was practicing Bengali. He had a Bengali teacher and he was practicing writing Bengali. He walked 18,000 kilometers. That means he walked 2 times around the equator. This was Salt who introduced him to vegetarianism. He wrote a book which is called The Plea for Vegetarianism. Thoreau. Gandhi had three teachers. One was Thoreau, the American philosopher, Ruskin, and Tolstoy. So, and Gandhi was not connected with religion at all when he was in India. It was England which taught him religion. He read Gita first in England, and that was written by Edwin Arnold, which is called A Song Celestial. And he also wrote another book on Buddha, which is called The Light of Asia. So Gandhi's introduction to religion. And there is another very, very interesting thing. If you read Gandhi's autobiography, you find that Gandhi had discussions and debates with Christians, Hindus, people of all religion. And it was an open debate. There was a Catholic priest, a Protestant priest wanted to make him a Christian. He ultimately came and started staying with Gandhi. But then there was a debate. Gandhi never became a Christian, but Gandhi was absolutely open, almost like Akbar. Akbar had a kind of a dialogue. So dialogue is very important. Gandhi's life, if you have to study something, is dialogue. Today, unfortunately, we have monologues. That's Einstein. He had the best thing to say about Gandhi. He said, generations to come shall scarce believe that such a one in flesh and blood ever tread upon this earth. And Einstein's equation is equal to mc square. I have studied Gandhian science, a lecture on that subject, and I have my own version of this equation. In Einstein's equation, E is energy, M is mass, and C is the velocity of light. In Gandhi's equation, E is energy, M is masses of the world, and C is compassion. There are lots of Gandhi sculptures. I'm working with a lot of tribal artists of Bengal, creating Gandhi sculptures. This is created along with Bangla Natak. We went to the Dokra area. This is with coconut. This is another artist of Calcutta, Debashish. He does Gandhi with modern gadgets. Gandhi with the Vodafone. This is Gandhi in stainless steel. Gandhi grinding. This is my work, which is called The Pillars of the Nation's Conscience. If you see the space in between the two pillars, do you see him? The space between the two pillars, there is Gandhi. Created Gandhi using actually elements, and the pillars rotate and you will see Gandhi walking. This is Champaran Gandhi, Gandhi by an artist from Russia. This is a Bangladeshi artist who has created this work, which is called the Grenade of Compassion. It is done with this pith. I think it's some kind of a plant skin. This is Champaran Gandhi. I will go through. This is one of the works in progress. I am doing Gandhi as an Ardhanarishwar. That's because even Gandhi's killer called him, said, how can we have a woman as a leader of this country? Because Gandhi was, of course, even I think woman could be the prime minister. We have, here in Bengal, we don't have Dadagiri anymore. We have Didigiri. So he said he's like a woman because Gandhi is to nurse, Gandhi is to fast, Gandhi is to cook, Gandhi is to sweep. And so he was compared by his killer to his feminine. So I thought I will create a sculpture of Gandhi as Ardhanarishwar. So this is a work I'm working on. There are Gandhi memorabilia created all over the world. Now this is Gandhi perfume. This is Gandhi salt and pepper shaker. Made in France in 1925. Gandhi weight. Gandhi rings. Gandhi cigarette case made in Japan. Japan mein bana. Written in Devanagari. Gandhi cigarette case. This is Gandhi torch. Made in Germany. A fascist Germany in 1930s creates a Gandhi torch. Gandhi pipes. Gandhi weights. Keychains. Gandhi never got a Nobel Prize. But here is Alfred Nobel and on the other side is Gandhi. Gandhi kitchen equipments. Trays. And in America, somebody recently, just 4 years ago, they made a Gandhi beer. It's called Gandhi Bold. So there was a protest, and ultimately they withdrew the beer, and instead of Gandhi Bold, they called it G Bold. The Gandhi pens, Gandhi locks. I'm collecting Gandhi newspapers all over the world, which are very, very interesting. This Gandhi has been on the front page of Time magazine 3 times. These are quotations on Gandhi by Bernard Shaw, by Nelson Mandela. Steve Jobs considered him his hero, and many of his ads of Apple where they use Gandhi. This is Henry Ford. Gandhi presented a charkha to Henry Ford and signed in both Hindi and English. And the charkha sits in the Gandhi Museum, in the Ford Museum in America. That's Ford. Well, I think there are different people who have written about Gandhi. I'm collecting poems on Gandhi. And this is the last slide I'm showing you. I thought if Gandhi was alive today, what kind of a agitation, what kind of a satyagraha he would launch. Because he was very innovative in launching satyagrahas. The salt satyagraha, everybody thought he was a fool. How can salt change the political history? When it's Swadeshi, everybody thought this is wrong. But Gandhi was very, very creative when he came to satyagrahas. So I thought if Gandhi was alive today, he would start an anti-litter satyagraha. That's because even in Goa, which is a wonderful place, there's a lot of litter everywhere. And throwing a plastic bottle on the road is an act of violence. It's an act of himsa against Mother Nature and against yourself. We have the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan of this government, but there is only external cleaning. Gandhi also wants the internal cleaning. If your mind is full of hate and you're keeping the roads clean, that doesn't work. Gandhi's ahimsa is a ahimsa of inside and outside. It's a ahimsa, well, I will talk about it later, but this anti-litter satyagraha, what do? I collected 1 lakh plastic bottles thrown out by people on the road. We painted them and we created this work, which is an anti-litter statement. And 3,000 people came every day to see it and took an oath of anti-litter. I would like to do this all over the country because this is an anti-litter campaign. So if you come to Museum of Goa, my museum in Goa, you will see this. This is still there. It's with plastic bottles. Yeah, so I think, So well, there are some questions we could discuss, so we could discuss Gandhi's ahimsa. One thing I would tell you about Gandhi's ahimsa before we open to questions is Gandhi's ahimsa is not lack of violence, as Chief rightly pointed out. It's an active thing. Ahimsa is not a passive thing. Ahimsa is not the ahimsa of the coward. It's the ahimsa of the brave, of the fearless. It's the ahimsa of the deeds, ahimsa of the words, and ahimsa of the actions. You have to have ahimsa in everything, not just in deeds, but also in thinking. A bad thought, a violent thought itself is ahimsa. So Gandhi's ahimsa is a very, very difficult thing to sort of incorporate. It needs a kind of a tapasya to basically imbibe in it. But if you can do it, you definitely are at peace with yourself and peace with the world. And I think what the world needs is ahimsa. Thank you.